Good morning, everyone. It's Dustin with East Tennessee Mentorship Association. It's been a while since I made a video. As most of y'all know, I was out west for 3 weeks on a trip with a local community college where I got to do some mentorship and relax and recharge, spend some time with Amanda, and kind of plan our steps forward as a business and as a family. We've got a son on the way, and it's been an exciting and progressive year. But I wanted to make this first video to kind of break the ice and share a mental health tip of the week. It's been a while since I've done one of those, and just kind of give an update on where we are as a business. So the mental health tip of the week is about the word enoughness, which was added to the dictionary in 2020. And the word means the quality or fact of being enough, sufficiency, adequacy. And kind of the question behind that word for me is, when is enough enough? When do you push for more? When does your pushing for more become stress addiction, or when does it become a symptom of something? And does that matter? I like to read books from people who push themselves for self-growth, and that's David Goggins, Jocko Willink. Both are former SEALs. I did some time in the Navy, so I relate to that. Just ordered Tim Kennedy's book. Jordan Peterson's book, Jim Mattis's book. I like to read memoir, and I like to read people's thoughts about how to live their lives. And a lot of these guys I also follow on social media, and you'll see them up at 3 or 4 in the morning, already like in a pool of sweat, pushing themselves to their physical limits. And I've always said that that is a symptom of something. Like, you don't get that kind of drive or passion or motivation by sitting on the couch, and you have to go through something to find that place within yourself. And even the amount of motivation that I have, that I live my life with, that didn't come from nowhere. My passion for mental health didn't come from nowhere, and everyone already knows that. There's a book about it you're welcome to read, but mostly people don't even have to read the book, because they just know by the way I conduct myself and the way I respond to challenges that something put that in me. And for me, when I say, those people who they're like Dave Goggins, his literal motto for life is stay hard, like just hard all the time, go, 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 3 a.m. I like to approach life in a more balanced way, and it's not that their way's wrong, but for me, I know the scale that I'm at, and while their world maybe is pushing themselves primarily physically and mentally, my world is more pushing myself on a emotional, philosophical, spiritual kind of level. And in mental health, you have to obviously choose how much of other people's emotions you're going to expose yourself to. And for me to do the work well, I need to be empathetic enough to put myself in other people's shoes. So I then take the time. That's a lot of data, basically. People don't think about it in terms of data, but you may have seen my video on Freud's thoughts about the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is just this data that needs processed in order to be used rationally in the ego. And so when I'm very empathetic with the people that I talk to all the time, that's a lot of id-space data, which means I need more downtime to process that. Everyone processes things in different ways. Apparently for some people, it's swinging a sledgehammer at a tire. For me, it's time alone, breathing and thinking and staring at a ceiling. And so you won't see me getting up at 4 a.m. because I wouldn't be able to do that in a healthy way. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. We only see what we see on social media. But the key point is you have to have an internal compass that tells you, an internal gauge that tells you when enough is enough. And the other thing about the word enoughness is that it's not only are you doing enough, it is your perception of yourself, and are you enough? Am I enough? Is what I'm doing enough, or should I expect more from myself? And I think only us as individuals, we're the only ones who know what our potential is or what our purpose is, and the amount that you're doing directly should be correlated to the strength of your purpose. If you are a very family-oriented person, then maybe working 40 hours a week, working your butt off, or working 60 hours a week and going home, that's enough because you're taking care of your family. If you feel called to a higher purpose, which, that's a blessing and a curse in a lot of ways. You feel like I feel called to a higher purpose that our mental health system is broken and there's something I can do about it. I think that I have a shot at doing a better job than the existing system. Not saying that's going to work out, but I have a shot at it, and I'm going to take the shot. By exposing myself to that greater purpose, I also am requiring more of myself in order to achieve that. And in doing so, other people who maybe don't have, a specific mission like that, but they still want to contribute to the world and stuff like that, they surround people who have a purpose like that and support them. So I may have more weight to carry, but I also have other people who are willing to do that who maybe don't know their exact purpose yet or whatever. So the foundation of my faith, the foundation of my worldview is discernment. And I believe that in order to find your discernment, you have to either get in touch with yourself, your internal self, or get in touch with your God if you're a person of faith. But there has to be some element of accountability. Like, I'm here for a purpose. This is where my purpose came from. This is what my purpose is. And in that way, you can push yourself and expose yourself to a lot more pressure and be okay. The other thing is, you can't achieve your purpose if you are exhausted. So if you are completely exhausted and overwhelmed, your first duty is to make sure that you're cool before you begin pushing again. So enoughness, if you are exhausted, then whatever you're doing, you have to kind of take it down to the bare minimum at that point and do enough to get by, but not push yourself too much until you're in the right frame of mind, which is in many ways what I just did for 3 weeks. It's hard to start a new business. It's hard to get a business to run itself when you're gone for an extended period, and that takes energy, that takes effort. And so I was tired. I went and took 3 weeks. I saw some beautiful places in the country. I spent a lot of time meditating, thinking, and now I feel recharged and refocused, and I'm ready to come do the next steps. So that's the mental health tip of the week. I want to briefly say that we're starting to get back to normal. I'm getting my sea legs a little bit more. I have a lot of visions. I want to get a piece of property on the water so that I can do overnight camps with people and we can talk, or even group camps. We recently had a raft donated, and my wife and I tested it this weekend because you have to rest, right? So we tested the raft out. It was great. It was so good, in fact, that it was on sale, and I bought another. So now we have the capacity to take, probably a dozen people on the water. I want to get that started. I want eventually to get a 16-passenger van, so when I'm taking people on these outings, I don't have to have 5 cars trailing each other. Like, I have larger vision, but in this business model, it's one of those matters where scale is money and money is scale. So nothing happens quickly. There's no shortcut. In physical health, like those guys getting up at 4 a.m., they're in peak physical condition because they wake up at 4 a.m. all the time. I'm not doing it. I'm not in peak physical condition. I'm in okay condition because I try to live a balanced life. So just like that, in business, there are no shortcuts. I have to do enough sessions to get a down payment for a piece of land or a down payment for a van, while also doing enough to satisfy my moral requirements of myself and help the needy and stuff like that. So none of this stuff happens overnight, and none of it happens without support. But I do believe that the community has been receptive to this resource. So next Friday, the 17th, we're starting our yoga back. That's donation only. Starts at 6 o'clock. The following day, on the 18th, we will hike somewhere. I haven't decided where yet, but it's going to be beautiful. And if you know me, it's probably going to end up being by the water because that is just peaceful for me. We have a new parent workshop. Like I said, Amanda and I are expecting our child. And even though we already have a 6-year-old, a refresher is always good. And so the new parent workshop will be on July 30th. There will be more details, but that is going to end up being probably 5 or 6 hours. And it's all about new baby behavior, the benefits of breastfeeding, how to be prepared. And that will be by Kirsten Barker, who's done that for WIC, and even I think in the military. Her husband was in the military. I think she did some classes, and they did some parenting classes together. So that's going to be amazing. More information to follow. And the more I get back into the routine of handling sessions, planning events, the rhythm of it all, You'll see more things coming up. I'll do a jewelry class this summer probably. You know that Gina's done a great job while I've been out, so we're adding to the team. We are accepting clients. We always need sponsors because there's always people who need help who can't afford it. And so far, the approach is working. So everyone always asks me, everyone has great ideas about grants or about getting the government involved and stuff like that. And for me, the goal has always been to prove that it works first before accepting that sort of help. And also, I'm very dedicated to freedom of navigation, the freedom to execute this model from my perspective as an American citizen who's paid close attention throughout my life, I was in military intelligence and I learned a lot of lessons from that. I've learned a lot of lessons from spending time with different cultures around the world. So if I accept government money or grant money, then that means those people get to steer where I'm headed. And for the moment, at least, I need to steer where I'm headed so that I can be comfortable with how to scale. Because ultimately, the goal is, maybe we're starting in Oak Ridge, but the goal is to help as many people as possible. So to everyone who's been involved so far, sincerest thanks. I don't like to leave for 3 weeks. I had a lot of clients who had a lot of stuff going on. And when you say very loudly, this is not therapy, and I don't believe our mental health system is working, then what you end up with is people who that system has failed. And a lot of times those are people who have been through a lot. So all of our clients did amazing during that 3 weeks, and they've all had tremendous growth and have done the work for themselves since we started. So if the mental health system hasn't worked for you, or if you want to support what we're doing, reach out. And don't forget that it's each of our responsibility to decide what is enough and when is enough. And for me, it's time to push a little bit. So if you want to be a part of that, let me know. Thanks so much. I hope you all have a great week, and hope to talk to you soon.